What is going on, everyone? My name is Dylan Lima, and I am with the Pull the Chair podcast. Right now, I'm just a solo podcast today because Tyler unfortunately cannot make it. We may get a visit from Paris later on, but as of right now, in this game five, it's a do or die situation for the San Antonio Spurs. It's they've been really struggling this game, and same with the Knicks. They started off absolutely terrible in this first half, but as they do, they you can never keep them down for a long time. They they managed to claw it back to a 4-point game after a despicable first half. And let's be honest, you know, this Knicks team, they've just been going hard every single opportunity they can. They were shooting better from the 3-point line than the 2-point line in the first half. They could barely even scrape a little above 25% from the field going into the first half, and even then, they still kept it within 5 points. And just time and time again, I look at this Spurs team, and I'm just like, where's their closers? Who's gonna close this game out? Wemby's doing everything he possibly can. Last time I checked, Wemby had 5 blocks on the game. He's been absolutely amazing, lights out on the defense. But every time he goes to the bench, we see the Spurs team just fall apart. Yeah, just to confirm, Wemby still has 5 blocks on the game. Dylan Harper's just been fantastic off the bench. Ideally, if De'Aaron Fox wasn't making $50 million a year, ideally you'd want De'Aaron Fox off the bench because he's playing more like a six man and Dylan Harper's playing like the vet. So it's kind of a Freaky Friday situation, but that's nothing new. Um, we got to talk about how this Knicks team, they only have 4 bench points. And very crucial, Karl-Anthony Towns getting to foul trouble early. He had 4 fouls right at the beginning of the third quarter, so he's been mostly on the bench for pretty much his whole game. Right now he's out there. He's definitely this is definitely a critical time for them. They need him now more than ever with 6:35 left in the game on my stream. Seeing Brunson just absolutely going hard, amazing points. One thing I definitely want to talk about though that really pissed me off because we always talk about how frustrating the officiating is. Um, Oh wait, we got a comment here by No Rules. Brunson's flopping big time. I mean, look, he's gonna get away with it, especially with his small frame. He definitely overemphasizes a lot of contact. But speaking of Brunson, I wanted to talk about how Wemby got away with a flagrant. Um, I believe it was in the third quarter when Brunson goes up for the shot, and you could see on the replay Wemby looked where he put his foot on the floor, and Brunson put his full weight and practically rolled his ankle on Victor Wembanyama's foot. Any other game, any other player, that's a flagrant foul. I don't care. I understand that Wemby is one flagrant foul away from getting suspended and getting booted from the series, at least this game in the series, and we all know this series is over once Wemby's off the court. So, I understand that prospect, but at the same time, Tyler Ford, he is on my shit list. Out of all the refs in the league, you could complain about Scott Foster being known as the extender. We could talk about how Tony Brothers plays favorites. But I mean Tyler Ford, man. I mean, I've never have I seen players so angry and just scream at a ref quite like Tyler Ford. And sometimes these refs they do have some quips and go back at the players. Like they're not afraid to talk back at them. But Tyler Ford is just like very quiet and kind of just like I don't know how to explain it. Like I'll never forget. I'm a Celtics fan. If you can't tell, I'm wearing this hat, dust off the good old champions hat, because again, the Knicks could very well be winning the championship. But I remember when Tyler Ford booted Jaylen Brown out of the game because I forgot which team it was against. I think it was like towards the end of the regular season. It wasn't a playoff game. But essentially, Jaylen Brown was fed up with the calls, and I know that Jaylen Brown definitely hates the refs more than anyone, and he got the most offensive fouls all year, including the playoffs. And whatever sparked it, it was actually against the Spurs. Funny enough, yeah, it was during the Spurs in the late game of the season, and you could see just Jaylen Brown going at Tyler Ford hard, and Tyler Ford kind of gave him like a little nod and kind of a snarky look, and that set off Brown where he turned away and said, "Nah, screw that." Turned back around, frothing out of the mouth, spitting everywhere, and then he got the double tech just by complaining. And he's not alone. So many players, so many coaches this year, and I feel like every year more and more we complain about these refs, and I do respect that the refs are trying to even it. They're not egregious in the sense of like they try to call fouls evenly more often than not. You know, you look back at these games and the free throw disparity is really not large in any of these games, even going back into previous rounds. So they could do that, but that Wemby non-call flagrant was a very clear sign of the NBA protecting him because, again, this series is over. Right now, we're looking at a 4-point game. Wemby's trying his damnedest to do everything he can to keep this Spurs team ahead, but I have no faith in the Spurs team, man. I've seen enough. You know, like this was one of those games too when you have a Knicks team that's just shooting atrocious. Like they didn't even get their first bench points into the second half. They went through the full first half with 0 bench points. And yet still some way, somehow they keep this game close. Any better coach slash more veteran team that's used to being in big moments like this would not allow this to happen. Like an OKC Thunder team, they would absolutely be smoking the Knicks this series because let's be honest, the Knicks they've been terrible out of the gates just about every single game. Whether it's purposeful or not, usually the second half is when they turn it on, and Brunson alone has been carrying this team. Um, like right now, Jalen Brunson's 13 of 25 from the field. He's had his fair share of free throws. He's shot 14 free throws, made 12 of them. But like the rest of the starting five, they only have a combined 12 shots made. So right now, Brunson is doubling up the rest of the starting five as far as field goals made. And yeah, I mean, again, Jalen Brunson definitely will deserve the Finals MVP. Right now, it's a tie game. We just had a tie game. Now 85-86 with free throws. Oh man, yeah, this game is like definitely, in the balance right now. And it's again another double-digit lead the Spurs had, another choke away. Like it's just like how many times are we gonna see this? And I mean, in hindsight, I think everybody was happy that the OKC Thunder didn't make it to the finals, but I promise you they would not be playing nearly as sloppy as the Spurs team has. Because, I mean, like, again, we could talk about, we could try to play revisionist history and say, like, oh man, if this bounce went this way and this turnover didn't happen, the game would be much different. But the Spurs have played themselves out of every single game. If they just closed, if they had an inkling of cojones and being able to close late in these games, we could be talking like a sweep by the Spurs, if we're being honest. Because that 30-point collapse in Game 5 should not have happened. They won Game 4 to. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Game 4 collapse of 30-point collapse. Game 3 was when they actually closed the game out and actually won. And then the first two games at home, they kind of embarrassed themselves. I mean, we could talk about the late turnovers. We could talk about Wemby passing off the back of Castle. We could talk about Wemby falling over trying to dribble in Game 1. Albeit that was probably the one game that the Spurs were behind at that point. So, if we could just say, like, all right, that was definitely a lock for the Knicks no matter what, we could be talking about a 3-1 series with the Spurs if they had any kind of, like, gumption. Any kind of just like, all right, this is our game. We are up. Let's hold this lead. Let's stop making dumb turnovers. De'Aaron Fox is like, he's going to get the worst slander ever. We talked about how Chet Holmgren's going to want to be off the internet last round. De'Aaron Fox is going to have that same problem because I mean, man, you look at his contract and it's looking like an albatross right now. Dude's making somewhere between 50 to 60 million dollars over the next 4 years. If I'm the Spurs, I'm trying to get whatever I can get out of De'Aaron Fox. I need that contract off the books ASAP because this team, they're amazing. They have Wemby, Harper, and Castle all on rookie contracts still. And the only big contract really is De'Aaron Fox's, and he does not play like a man that's worth $50 million. And look, he was fantastic on the Kings. I got to see him live. as a New York native, I go to a lot of Brooklyn Nets games when I can, and I was able to see a Kings Brooklyn Nets game, and I was in awe watching De'Aaron Fox play because he's just so smooth. Like he could just get to the rim so effortlessly, but the problem is that he needs the ball bad. He needs the ball more than anyone on this team, and in reality, he just can't do that. Wemby's the clear number one guy. And we've seen multiple times just in this game alone, him missing wide open catch and shoot opportunities. Like if he was capable of making catch and shoot threes, like this, maybe De'Aaron Fox would get a little bit less hate. But I mean, again, he's been making awful turnovers. Again, he's gonna be killed forever for not dribbling out the clock last game when they had the lead in the balance, when this series could very well at least be a 2-2 series if De'Aaron Fox just lets himself get fouled. And look, you can make an excuse for Castle making that type of play. You can make an excuse for Dylan Harper making that type of play. But again, De'Aaron Fox is an 8-year vet in his career. He cannot be doing that. Sorry, one moment. Plain and simple. So now the Knicks are up 3 points with a minute 53 left. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, man, we could very well see the Knicks hoisting this trophy tonight. It's looking like it's going to be Knicks in five. New York City is going to be in flames. So if you live in the boroughs anywhere, Manhattan, I hope I hope you stay inside because if you're outside, you better be praying you're not a Spurs fan because we have seen quite a few incidents of people getting hurt, people and it's very sad that it's gone to this, and I know that a lot of people joked about Knicks fans going crazy for this finals, and I get it. Look, this the Knicks haven't won a championship in over 40 years. Talking about a starred franchise in a big market such as New York, when the last time they won a championship, any of the big sports teams was the Giants back in 2012. Um, again, they're just as starved as anyone and but it doesn't excuse hurting people. It doesn't excuse like in my mind, I go back to when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl against the Patriots, and people's stores were getting looted. People are climbing up light posts, and I mean, the Knicks fans are just as crazy, if not crazier, than those Philly fans. And look, people are bored out there, man. There's going to be bad actors. There's going to be people that should not be doing bad things. But again, people just get so excited and so riled up after a championship, and there's a mob mentality as far as a lot of this stuff goes when like independent people would not be have the balls enough to do such terrible things, but when you're in a big mob of people, when it's so much easier to get away with things, we're going to see some crazy stuff today. The news is going to be lit up. I mean, hell, I remember going to the gym the day after game 4 and seeing on the news that someone was wanted because a poor 17-year-old was inciting Knicks fans, and the perpetrator knocked this 17-year-old kid in a coma. Like that's just not okay. I'm sorry. You can be excited. You can have arguments with people about sports. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, look, this is all meant to be fun. This is meant to be a hobby. This is meant to be a way for people to come together. And, people these days, we struggle to have community. But, the beauty of sports is that everybody can connect over sports. You can go to a bar and up a conversation with some random person you've never met before because you happen to be fans of the same team. Like, that's the beauty of sports. But it's not beautiful when you have people fighting, when you have people getting hurt. And again, I would not be surprised if we're going to be seeing people breaking into stores and you know, just doing just flat out crime, just straight up crime. And again, that's not okay. I will never endorse that. But overall, I will be very happy for the Knicks if they do win this game. And as of right now, let's see what the game is at right now. It's 90 to 88, 26 seconds left. Oh man, it's coming down to the wire. And look, I mean, the Spurs, they had a great year. They've played out of their minds. They absolutely deserve to win over the Thunder last series, but that team is not showing up in this series. They look night and day from that team. And again, I give all the props in the world to Wemby. He's been nothing short of fantastic. This will be his, the NBA will be his. He will be the real face of the NBA. Another free throw for the Knicks to go up 91-88. Oh man, but at the end of the day, man, it's just really just not it's not the Spurs year. And they're just a young team. They're the second youngest team in NBA history to make the finals behind I believe it was the 78 Portland Trailblazers, one of those 70s team Trailblazers with the great Bill Walton. He was the biggest name on that team. And then last year's Thunder was actually the third youngest, but they were anchored behind an SGA who's also in his late 20s and has been on an absolute tear. Obviously was MVP last year, became a repeat MVP this year. And, even with Wemby being the leader that he is, he can't overcompensate for everyone. The Spurs struggle in the bigs department. Luke Cornett is just not it. Um, Dylan Harper's been the real bright spot on this team. Stephon Castle, man, what's going on with Stephon Castle? Because he had a fantastic series as well. I mean, he playoffs in general. He was always the second man behind Wemby, always coming in clutch. And in a game that you have to win, he hasn't made a single field goal. He's 0 for 9. He has 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Bro is dropping a Wendy's 4 for 4 right now in a very crucial game five when everything's on the line. Devin Vassell has a nice little 12 going. I saw Julian Champagny also had some clutch buckets as well, but at the end of the day, it's just not enough. Right now, it's 92-88. Spurs have to make something happen with 20 seconds left, but either way, even if they do, they just call a timeout. The best case scenario is you get a quick shot up, you get a foul, pray that the Knicks miss a free throw or two, and then, try to at least force overtime. Like 4 points is a tough spot to be in when you need a bucket and then you have to go and, cause a foul. Because again, there's so much that can happen. The Knicks are going to do their best to try to waste the clock. And, we're very well seeing, the Knicks are looking like they're going to win this championship. Unless if by some miracle the Spurs are able to push this, but a 4 point lead at this point in the game when the shot clock is off, like it's just looking like it's GG's, man. And Spurs just with big duds, 16 points in the fourth quarter for the Spurs. I mean, we've talked about ad nauseum how terrible the Spurs team's been in the fourth quarter, and once again on their own court, they still can't put it all together. And I mean, the person, if there's anyone that's going to get blamed, it has to be the coach. And I get it. He's a young coach. He like has not been in. He has not been in the. Mitch Johnson has not been a coach for a long time. Your guy at Stanford. He was the G League. He played in the G League. Oh, sorry. He played college ball, then went to the G League, and then he eventually took over after being an assistant. Oh wait, hold on. We got a tip in by Castle. 2 point game with 16 seconds left. Look, it's not impossible. It's close. But going back to what I was saying before, Mitch Johnson, he's just not experienced enough. Because at the end of the day, like this team, they should have been practicing fourth quarter high pressure situations because the sheer amount of times that this team gave up awful turnovers, not chewing the clock late and wasting as much time as they can, and essentially forcing offense when they shouldn't have been. That does firmly place on the coach, and I think he's very capable. I think he's very capable of being that guy for the Spurs. I mean, look, it's not easy, especially for someone like Wemby that's as spectacular as he is. You could probably say like, oh, you could put anyone as a head coach there, but coaching is a mutual thing where the players allow the coach to coach them. There's been so many times in not just basketball, but sports in general when a head coach loses the locker room and the players just stop listening to what he has to say, it gets real ugly real fast. And look, ever since Mitch Johnson's been at the helm with the Spurs, they've had great records. Like, and again, being second seed in the Western Conference as good as it is, knocking off the Thunder like they did, no easy feat. No easy feat at all. So again, the Spurs should do nothing but hold their heads high, but you have to feel like you left stuff out there. This series probably should have gone 6, maybe 7 games, but now it's looking like looking like it's going to end in 5. 16 seconds left. Um, so we're just waiting for the time to tick, waiting for the Knicks to get off this timeout because here we go. Brunson's entering the game for Mitchell Robinson. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they just got to play keep away with 8 seconds left. They don't have to do anything. They just got to let the Spurs foul them, pray that Brunson gets the ball because if he knocks down both buckets, it's going to be celebration time in New York. It's going to be insanity. Like I'm in disbelief. I really am. Words cannot describe how terrible. And De'Aaron Fox 3 for 15 with 7 points in a critical game like this. Like I'm sorry, but it's over. Like De'Aaron Fox, you cannot show back up to San Antonio next year. You know, I mean, you're 28 years old. You've been in the league since 2017. This is the first team he's ever been on that had high pressure situations. Like he was part of the Kings team that won a series. The Kings went over 20 years without winning a series. They've been a relatively sad franchise, and De'Aaron Fox was at the helm of that franchise for a while. But at the end of the day, he thrives the best on a team like the Kings, where expectations are relatively low. He can be the guy that's the main ball handler, and I don't know. It's like really tough. I don't know where the Spurs go from here as far as with De'Aaron Fox, but I mean, if I'm them, I'm gonna start calling people up, seeing what I can get, because he definitely has trade value. I mean, he's still early in his contract. So, you could always restructure it, the sign and trade. However, they'll find a way to get off of him, but you can't keep him on this team, man. I'm sorry. And I think if I'm the Spurs, you gotta find another big, because Luke Cornett is not the answer. Plain and simple. So Bridges made 2 of 2 on his free throws. It's 8 seconds left. 93-90 game right now. The Spurs can do something wild if they can get Wemby the ball and have him knock down to 3. We could be seeing overtime or maybe Dylan Harper. If Dylan Harper's out there, give him the ball. Sadly, I'm on the play-by-play right now because the ABC Network live stream is behind. I'm trying to stay as updated as possible. Looking like I got a refresh here, try to see if I could catch it right as they go. Yeah, right now they're in a timeout. No timeouts left for the Spurs, so this is literally it. This is the whole series. This is the end of the NBA series, the NBA season in general, if the Spurs can't knock down a 3 and force overtime. And if I'm Mitch Johnson, I don't know who I can look around that team that's not named Victor Wembanyama. Like, can I trust him to make the shot? And we've seen Wemby choke in these high pressure situations all season. So I mean, it's either going to be Wemby gets the ball and maybe someone closes out and someone's there for a catch and shoot to tie it, but there's no twos. You can't have a two here. So, what are we going to see? Luke Cornett Dan Fox is in for Luke Cornett. Another dude that should get sent to space. I'm sorry, Luke Cornett. I love you. You're a part of the Celtics championship winning team, but he plays like he has arthritis in both knees and goes to LA Fitness and play basketball there. He does not look like an NBA player anymore. And he had that fantastic block at the end of the Thunder series, but that's the only real highlight he's had this whole playoff run. And the Spurs have been sad for the most case when Wemby's on the court. So now we have Foster inbounding the ball to Castle. Let's see what play they have drawn up. All right. Wemby. Oh, man. Wemby's getting double teamed. They're panicking. Dylan Harper gets the ball. Oh, the Knicks fouled them. That's a smart play by the Knicks. I actually like that a lot. Don't even leave it to chance. Don't even let the Spurs try to shoot a 3. Get 2 free throws right away. Like more likely than not, Harper's gonna miss one. if I'm the Spurs, if I'm Dylan Harper, I would try to make one, purposely miss, and pray for a board because if you make both of them, Knicks are going to have to inbound the ball. They still have a timeout left, so they could advance the ball up the court. But regardless, it's just going to be a free throw off here. And the worst case scenario is a Brunson or Bridges getting free and wasting what's remaining on the clock. So, I mean, if the in the best case scenario, you make the first one, you miss the second one, pray that Wemby gets that board. So right now you have both Cornet and Wemby out there. If they could swat the ball out to someone to get an open look and, make the game go ahead. Harper misses. Oh man, he missed both. He didn't even make one. He missed both. Oh, sorry, I'm still a little behind, but yeah, 7.7 seconds left on this clock. Knicks fans, you guys gotta be really excited right now because it's looking like it's coming home. See Timothy Chalamet out there, he's looking nervous. I mean, man, oh man, we are going to be seeing some scenes. I'm gonna be glued to my Instagram reels in like a half hour just to see fireworks going off. There's going to be a lot going on in New York. OG Anunoby misses the first free throw on the foul. So I mean, hell, I mean the Spurs still have a chance. It's not over yet. If OG misses this free throw, I mean it's looking like the Knicks are gonna foul the Spurs no matter what. Because again, don't even bother. Don't worry about the Spurs getting an open shot. Oh, there it is. OG makes it a 4-point game. Spurs dribbling down the court. It's got to be a pull-up. Here comes Wemby. Pull-up three. Brick. And it is over. Your New York Knicks win in five. Win the NBA championship. First time since 1973. Knicks are going to be hoisting the trophy. Fireworks, the whole thing. Times Square is going to get a beautiful parade in a couple days. Oh my goodness, everyone. Unbelievable. I mean, if I'm Wemby, I'm going back to hang out with those monks in Tibet again, because, I mean, how can you not be upset with how you played? I mean, again, Wemby did his best. He tried to put the team on his back, but he was never able to put together consistent performances to put them over the line. And, now New York Knicks fans, you guys can celebrate. You guys, this is your time. It's been years. The Knicks have been for years so close. They were in the third round last year, got booted by the Pacers. They were a consistent second round exit for years. People were questioning what is the problem. Sure enough, Tom Thibodeau gets fired. You guys hire Mike Brown of Kings fame that notoriously talked crap about De'Aaron Fox and during a post game talking about how he was making dumb plays and again when De'Aaron Fox shoots as terribly as he had, makes the turnovers that he has done all series, and all in all has been just not a good player whatsoever. Definitely not worth his contract. You have to feel vindicated. 1 of 10 for Stephon Castle, 3 of 15 from De'Aaron Fox. I'm sorry, that's just not a championship worthy team. Two crucial players of your starting rotation and just having tour dates as your shooting line. It's like I'm sorry. Like, people are gonna blame Wemby. People are gonna talk crap about him because that's just the climate that we're in where, everybody tries to blame the big man, the number one guy, but Wemby's the last guy you're going to want to blame as far as this team goes. We've seen how terrible they were. Like, not only the Knicks, but every single series beforehand, whenever Wemby was off the court, just an overall net negative team. Um, and just, again, just terrible turnovers, terrible decision making time and time again. And when, it's one of those things, man. I mean, 12 turnovers, and they had the better points off turnovers. Rebounds were kind of even. Uh, but at the end of the day, despite having a double-digit lead despite the New York Knicks shooting absolutely terrible in the first half. Their never say die attitude is what pulled them over the line. Nothing but respect for the Knicks. Congratulations. I can't even be mad. Look, I'm a Boston Celtics fan, obviously. I'm gonna keep on saying that. If you watched the Pull the Chair podcast, you know that by now. Don't have to say it time and time again. I should not be happy for the Knicks. I should be mad. I should be annoyed. I should be talking crap about Brunson and Josh Hart and you name it, but this Knicks team is likable, man. I'll talk crap about Mitchell Robinson for political reasons, but I will not go there tonight. This is about sports. This is always about sports. Politics should be out of sports, but you know, this has been such a likable team. Karl Anthony Towns gets his ring, and I was kind of talking about how he was a borderline elite big, and he was showing some real eliteness early on in this series, and his foul trouble this game and last game kind of prevented them from for him really showing what he can do. But talk about a spectacular defender on Wemby, getting physical and driving with zero fear. You know, I'm happy for this team, man. Jalen Brunson, he wanted to leave the Mavericks because he wanted to be the guy in the team. Came to this Knicks team. People were talking crap about how he was overpaid and he wasn't worth it. People want to talk about how he's an undersized guard and a defensive liability, but boy was he lights out. Absolutely clutch, nonstop, you know. 45-point night for Jalen Brunson, man. He put up almost half of the Knicks points. Like, what else would you expect from, you know, someone like him? Absolutely deserves Finals MVP. OG Anunoby's another guy who, has been spectacular all series. He kind of had a down game today, but it's all right, man. Past couple of games he was always second, right behind Brunson in that points column, and I mean the fourth quarter is always Jalen Brunson's time. Like he's someone that's never been afraid. You know, we've seen time and time again when Wemby's around, certain players are too scared to put shots up, but Brunson will still drop a mid-range bucket on Wemby. He does not care. He'll shoot over him. He'll try to go through him. Despite Wemby trying to roll his ankle and try to hurt him earlier in the game, Brunson still fought through like the absolute dog he is. So yeah, tonight is your night, New York. I hope people that are in the city stay safe out there, and hopefully things don't go too crazy, because you know, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be having fun. We're not supposed to be hurting people just because someone likes a team that's not your favorite team. I gotta say though, I do not like these New York Knicks hats. So they look kind of ugly. I mean, this, at least with this hat, you got the nice embossed NBA Finals, and you got the Larry O'Brien uh, logos all over it, but like it just looks like they just sewn a patch with the Knicks logo and says NBA Finals. It looks like they got it fresh off of Timu and flew that over to last night. But yeah, 45 points for Jalen Brunson. The rest of the team had 49. Like this is a type of performance that I mean, I see. The thing is that obviously this Knicks team is probably the best Knicks team ever, if we're being honest. Like, I couldn't name you a dude off the top of my head besides Phil Jackson that played on those 70s Knicks teams. And look, they've had fantastic players over the years. I mean, we've obviously seen Patrick Ewing and Walt Frazier and John Starks and you name it. They've all been getting paraded this whole time, all these legends. But, you know, I wouldn't say this is a legendary team by any means, but if you want to talk about a playoff run, only losing 3 games all playoffs is a fantastic run. They had an amazing point differential all year. I mean, all playoffs. And, and at the end of the day, hats off to them. It's going to be interesting. Depending on the day, I may try to head out to that parade, but it's already Saturday. It's probably gonna be midweek, and sadly, I'm gonna be working probably, so I'm not gonna be able to go to see the parade. But I mean, it's just scenes, absolute scenes. People are, seeing all the smiles, seeing everybody just like hugging and everything. I mean, How can you not love this team? Now, if we want to talk about all-time NBA teams as far as this championships go, I mean, I can't really say it's an all-time great team. They were a third place record team, which is still solid but not great. They definitely got away with some of the matchups that they've had. I mean, I'm going to talk about how, obviously the Celtics choked a 3-1 lead against the Sixers, and, they got to go up against that team in the second round. And then going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the third round, they might as well just, they might as well could have just skipped that series in all honesty because Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are not playoff players at all. They're just not. I mean, they play well, but they don't play winning ball. So, but again, you can only play the teams in front of you. And again, the Spurs, they played great, amazing season for them. They're going to own the Western Conference for a while because now with the Thunder, as far as how their contract situations go, now all of their big contracts are hitting. Like the past couple years, the Thunder's championship window was wide open with all the draft picks. They were below the luxury tax, but now Chet Holmgren's on his second contract. Jalen Williams on his second contract. You're already paying SGA. So now we're gonna really see like are these like was that 1 year a fluke? Was this dominant regular season and more or less a playoff meltdown? Was this all mirage or will they have long-staying power? And the NBA through this last CBA with the luxury tax rules, they've purposely stop teams from developing dynasties. They saw people complain about the Warriors team when they added Kevin Durant, and look, rightfully so. People, I think people get tired of seeing the same teams win all the time, and totally understandable, and especially how the Warriors got their last dynasty was kind of felt cheap. But I think we should celebrate great teams. And knowing the Knicks contract situation, they have the potential to go back to back next year, but I don't know about the Thunder. The Thunder with the luxury tax apron, and they're gonna have a hard time re-signing their players and getting replacements for people. I mean, they're lucky to have Jared McCain for another year on a cheap contract, but there's no chance he's gonna re-sign because he should be a starter. So the Spurs, being the second seed, having all their guys on rookie contracts still, if they could get off of De'Aaron Fox, find a secondary big to help Wemby because I mean another problem with the Spurs team too. They had all year Victor Wembanyama was on a tough minutes restriction because of the defensive thrombosis he had last year, and understandable. You don't want to push him too hard. He's going to be someone that's going to be prone to injuries just by his size naturally. But now, when you get to the playoffs and you're forced to play every single minute, there is a conditioning curve. There is a skill curve. There's so many, like, everything gets ramped up with physicality. The same calls you were getting in the regular season, you won't be getting called in the playoffs. And, Wembanyama showed his frustrations when he was getting dealt physically. And nothing changed here. I mean, like I said earlier on the show, he was gifted with not getting that flagrant foul against Jalen Brunson, but you know he knew he was on eggshells. He was stepping on eggshells because he could not afford another one. So yeah, congratulations again to the New York Knicks. I hope everyone stays safe out there. If you're a Knicks fan, try not to do any crime. Um, hopefully we will be doing another show Monday. We shall see. I know that we have some busy schedules amongst my fellow Pull the Chair members, so sadly it was just me tonight. But hopefully I was entertaining enough for everyone to enjoy being here. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.